Dreams are fragile things without discipline. They fade when the alarm rings. They vanish when the struggle begins. Discipline is what gives them shape, weight, and power. It's the bridge between what you imagine and what you become. Because without discipline, dreams remain only wishes. But with it, they turn into destiny. It's not talent that separates success from failure. It's consistency. The dreamers who rise are not the ones who dream the most. They're the ones who stay when everyone else gives up. Every man and woman carries within them a dream, a picture of what could be. It may be a business, a calling, a better life, or a version of themselves they've yet to meet. But between the dream and its realization lies a long, unglamorous road, and that road is paved with discipline. Discipline is not excitement, it is endurance. It is the willingness to do what must be done, long after the thrill of inspiration has passed. It is the quiet power that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Dreams are common. Every man dreams, every woman hopes, but only a few turn their hopes into habits, their wishes into work, and their dreams into deeds. Those few understand that no vision, no matter how bright, will ever become reality without the structure of discipline beneath it. Think of a bridge. One side holds your dream, the other holds your reality. Without the steel of discipline connecting the two, you can see the dream but never reach it. Discipline is the builder's craft. It takes vision from paper to permanence. Yet most people resist discipline because it lacks glamour. It asks for repetition when the heart craves novelty. It demands patience when the world promises shortcuts. But what they fail to see is that discipline, though quiet, is the most creative force on earth. For it takes ideas and gives them form. Talent is nothing without it. Desire is powerless without it. Even inspiration fades without it. Discipline is the engine that keeps the dream alive when motivation fails, when progress slows, when no one is watching. It is what separates the painter who finishes the canvas from the one who leaves it half done. It is what makes the writer who publishes his book different from the one who merely talks about it. A disciplined life may appear simple from the outside, but inside it burns with purpose. Each act, each repetition, each sacrifice is an investment in a greater return, the fulfillment of the dream itself. The undisciplined dreamer drifts from one idea to the next, carried by mood and whim. The disciplined dreamer moves forward with steady feet, each step deliberate, each day connected to the next. One hopes, the other builds. And so, if your dream feels distant, it is not because it is impossible. It is because you have yet to build the bridge. Dreams do not fail from lack of vision. They fail from lack of structure. And structure is discipline. Discipline is not a cage. It is the foundation of freedom. Because when you have mastered yourself, you are free from the tyranny of laziness, from the pull of distraction, from the weakness of impulse. A man without discipline is a slave to his moods. A man with discipline commands them. The road to freedom is built through discipline. The bridge to achievement is built through daily, deliberate effort. It is not the dream that determines your destiny. It is the discipline that supports it. How consistent effort beats raw talent every time. Talent is a fine thing, but it is a poor master. The world is filled with men and women of extraordinary ability who never rise beyond mediocrity, not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked discipline. Raw talent may open the door, but only consistent effort keeps it open. Discipline has built more success stories than genius ever has. Talent is the spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps it burning long after the wind of motivation has died down. A man with modest ability but steady habits will always surpass the gifted man who drifts. Because while talent shines in bursts, discipline endures in rhythm. The world often mistakes inspiration for progress. We celebrate the moment of brilliance, the flash of creativity, the sudden victory. But what we fail to see are the thousands of quiet repetitions that made it possible. Behind every moment of greatness lies an ocean of consistent effort, unseen but essential. The pianist who performs with grace did not learn it in a day of inspiration. He learned it through years of repetition, through mornings of practice when no one applauded. The athlete who seems naturally gifted has spent thousands of hours training when the stands were empty. The businessman whose decisions seem effortless has spent decades studying, refining, and failing in private. Discipline converts effort into excellence. It is the invisible hand that sharpens talent until it cuts cleanly. The truth is, talent without discipline is like a sword left to rust. It may look impressive, but when the moment of use comes, it bends instead of strikes. Consistent effort is the great equalizer. It turns average men into masters. It turns quiet persistence into public triumph. A man who commits himself to steady improvement, 1 inch each day, will, in time, cover a distance that talent alone could never traverse. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they cannot remain consistent long enough for their ability to bear fruit. They grow impatient with the slow pace of progress, mistaking repetition for stagnation. But discipline understands the truth. Repetition is not stagnation, it is refinement. Each repetition, each attempt, each day of deliberate work polishes the mind, strengthens the will, and deepens skill. What once felt difficult becomes second nature. What once required struggle becomes effortless precision. And soon, others call it talent, never realizing that what they see as natural ability is simply practiced discipline. In the end, discipline makes time your ally. Every hour, every effort, every repetition compounds quietly in your favor. Talent fades when it is not exercised. Discipline multiplies when it is maintained. So when life presents you with a choice to depend on your gifts or to depend on your habits, choose your habits. For gifts may fade, but habits endure. Talent may inspire admiration, but discipline earns respect. And when the two meet, when a talented man becomes disciplined, there is no limit to what he can achieve. It is not brilliance that builds legacies. It is endurance. The steady hand, the consistent heart, the daily commitment, these are what carry dreams across the years and turn possibility into permanence. The secret to staying focused when motivation fades. Motivation is a fine beginning, but it is a poor companion. It arrives with thunder and leaves in silence. It lifts the heart for a moment, but then vanishes when the real work begins. Those who depend on motivation will always live in cycles of starting and stopping, rising and falling. But those who build their lives on discipline keep moving long after motivation has disappeared. Success belongs not to the most inspired, but to the most consistent. When the spark fades, and it always does, discipline is the steady hand that keeps the flame alive. The man of discipline understands something the dreamer does not. That focus is not an emotion, it is a decision. He does not wait to feel ready, he acts ready. He does not depend on inspiration, he depends on structure. And that structure is what keeps him on course when the mind whispers, "Not today." The undisciplined mind seeks pleasure before purpose. The disciplined mind reverses the order. It seeks purpose first, trusting that satisfaction will follow. This single change in thinking separates the drifter from the doer, the dreamer from the achiever. When motivation fades, most people interpret it as a sign to stop. But the disciplined man knows it is only a test, a question from life itself asking, "Do you truly want this?" The answer is written not in his words, but in his actions. He keeps working quietly, without applause, until results appear. Focus is not about doing everything with intensity. It is about doing the right things with consistency. Discipline teaches you to protect your attention, to guard it like treasure. The man who cannot control where his attention goes cannot control where his life goes. The disciplined person decides each day what matters, and he gives his full self to that. When the mind grows weary, when the body protests, when the world seems indifferent, discipline whispers, "One more time," and that one more time, repeated 1,000 times, builds empires, crafts masterpieces, and turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. Motivation pushes from behind. discipline pulls from within. It comes from conviction, the quiet understanding that the reward is not in excitement, but in progress. The disciplined person knows that feelings are unreliable companions. They rise and fall like the tide. But habits, once built, stand like stone. So he does not chase feeling, he builds rhythm. Every morning he begins again, not because he feels like it, but because he said he would. That single act of keeping a promise to himself builds more power than 1,000 speeches about motivation. Treat discipline as devotion. Work becomes worship when done with purpose. The daily act of showing up, tired, uncertain, uninspired, is how you prove to yourself that your dream is worth more than your comfort. And something remarkable happens to those who stay. Over time, motivation returns, not as excitement, but as pride. The pride of progress, the satisfaction of having done what others would not. Discipline does not eliminate the struggle, it outlasts it. And in doing so, it gives the dream what nothing else can: momentum. How discipline builds confidence and mental strength. Confidence is not born in comfort, it is forged in discipline. Every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it's difficult, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. And that, more than praise or talent, is the root of unshakable confidence. Most people look for confidence as if it were something to find, a gift, a moment of inspiration, a feeling that must arrive before they begin. But confidence does not come before action. It comes after it. It is the reward of keeping promises to yourself. Each time you keep a commitment, no matter how small, you strengthen the invisible muscle of self-respect. You begin to believe your own words again. And that belief is power. The man who believes himself is unstoppable, for he no longer seeks permission to move forward. Discipline is the training ground of belief. It is where you learn that you can endure, that you can persist, that you can overcome. Every difficult repetition, every early morning, every quiet sacrifice teaches your mind a vital truth. I can handle this. And with each victory, however small, the voice of doubt grows weaker. The undisciplined man looks for confidence in comfort, in applause, in results, in approval. But these are fleeting. They depend on the world. The disciplined man finds confidence in effort. His satisfaction comes not from being noticed, but from knowing he has done the work. Mental strength, like physical strength, is built by resistance. You cannot become resilient by avoiding challenge. You must face it. You must meet discomfort willingly, knowing it is the tool that sharpens your will. The man who avoids difficulty grows fragile. The one who embraces it becomes firm. Each act of discipline is a form of training. When you resist temptation, when you follow through on a hard task, when you choose effort over ease, you are not only building skill, you are building character. Discipline toughens the mind. It transforms frustration into focus, fatigue into endurance, and fear into courage. The confident man is not fearless. He has simply practiced facing fear until it no longer commands him. The disciplined mind does not remove challenge from life. It removes panic from challenge. Through discipline, you become calm where others collapse. You find order where others find chaos. You remain steady while others break. Because discipline builds familiarity with discomfort, and familiarity turns fear into confidence. In time, discipline changes the very way you see yourself. You stop saying, "I hope I can," and begin saying, "I will." You stop waiting for strength to appear and realize it has been growing quietly through every act of commitment. Confidence born from discipline does not shout, it does not boast, it simply is. It lives in the way you walk, the way you decide, the way you endure. It is not arrogance, it is assurance. The assurance that you are capable because you have proven it to yourself. The strongest men and women you will ever meet are not the loudest or the most gifted. They are the most disciplined, for they have learned that mastery of the self is the foundation of all achievement. So if you wish to be stronger, begin not with belief, but with behavior. Do what must be done again and again until the mind understands that there is nothing it cannot do when commanded by will. That is the secret. Discipline builds trust in yourself, and trust in yourself builds an unbreakable mind. Practical ways to develop unshakable consistency. Consistency is not born from passion, it is born from principle. Passion will excite you, principle will sustain you. If you wish to live a disciplined life, you must anchor your actions in something deeper than emotion. You must build habits that do not ask how you feel, only whether they are necessary. The first step to unshakable consistency is clarity. You cannot be consistent with what is vague. Most people fail not because they lack effort, but because they are unclear about what they are building. Define your purpose. Know what your dream requires. Write it down until it becomes unmistakable. A man with clarity does not wake up wondering what to do. He wakes up knowing what must be done. The second step is structure. Discipline thrives on order. Set a time, a place, and a process for your work, and protect them as sacred. The great performers of history did not rely on inspiration, they relied on routine. By placing their effort inside a daily framework, they removed the need for decision. They did not ask, "Shall I do it today?" They simply did it because that is what they do. The third step is measurement. Consistency grows when progress is seen. The mind, like a craftsman, needs feedback to stay engaged. Record your efforts, however small. Track the hours you invest, the improvements you notice, the promises you keep. You will discover that progress, even in inches, is the most reliable source of motivation. The fourth step is simplicity. Do not aim for perfection, aim for persistence. The undisciplined man burns brightly for a day and disappears by the week's end. The disciplined man keeps his fire low but steady. He endures. Choose a pace you can sustain and keep it. Progress that continues is worth more than progress that collapses under its own ambition. The fifth step is environment. Surround yourself with order. Discipline does not live easily among chaos. Clean your space, plan your day, keep reminders of your goals visible. Let your surroundings support your standards. A disciplined environment becomes a mirror for a disciplined mind. Finally, the most powerful principle of all: begin again. Discipline is not perfection, it is persistence. You will falter, you will have days of weakness, but the man of discipline does not stay down. He returns. Every time he begins again, he strengthens the muscle of consistency. Failure only defeats the one who stops trying. Consistency is not a trait you are born with, it is a skill you practice. Each day that you show up, regardless of mood, builds momentum. Each morning you recommit, you carve deeper grooves into the mind until effort becomes instinct. The undisciplined man waits for the right moment. The disciplined man creates it. The undisciplined man looks for balance. The disciplined man builds rhythm. To develop unshakable consistency, make discipline your identity. See yourself as the one who follows through, not occasionally, but always. For once discipline becomes who you are, it no longer feels like effort. It feels like truth. And when that happens, when action no longer depends on emotion, but on principle, nothing can stop you. Dreams begin in the mind, but they live or die by discipline. Talent may open doors, luck may turn the handle, but only discipline walks you through. It is the quiet force that does not shout, does not boast, does not rush, yet it moves mountains one steady inch at a time. It is the difference between the wish that fades and the vision that endures. Discipline is the unseen architect behind every great life. It builds confidence, sharpens purpose, and transforms hope into habit. It is not the enemy of freedom, it is its greatest protector. For the man who masters himself is bound by nothing. Dreams do not come true because they are beautiful. They come true because someone refused to quit when the beauty wore off. Each day you choose discipline, you are choosing strength over weakness, purpose over pleasure, and the life you were meant for over the one that is easy. So hold fast to your dream. but hold tighter to your discipline, for it is not the dream that carries you to greatness. It is the discipline that carries the dream.